Welcome back to the channel, Jay's Fix and Repair Shack. This is Anthony. Okay, so yesterday we went over all the wash cycles and the estimated times that it gives us. Today I'm going to show you how you can dry only if you need to throw something into the machine and you want to just dry it. You don't want to do a whole wash cycle and everything. So that's what I'm going to show you today, is how you can end up drying something. And I'm going to even take a towel and I'm going to get it a little bit wet and everything, and then we're going to throw it into the machine to dry. So this right here is going to be our hand towel that we're going to use for the demonstration. Now it's completely there, it's not wet right now or anything, so as you can see it's a completely dry hand towel. We're going to bring it over here to the sink and we're going to get it wet. We're not going to get it super wet, but we're going to get it decently wet. So that way you'll really be able to see the difference of what it looks like going into the dryer and what it looks like when it comes back out. So that right there should be pretty decently wet. Kind of wring it out a little bit. Now, if you look, you can see which side is dry and which side's wet from the color. This side's really much darker than this side. So we're going to take the whole thing and roll it all up, so that way that water gets all over the rag, and that way it's nice and damp all around the rag. The entire thing, the whole hand rag is nice and damp. So there we go. We have a nice damp rag. Now it doesn't matter if you have this machine in your apartment, your house, a RV, while you're out camping or whatever. All of these videos will end up helping you with how to do all this. So we toss the towel in there. We're gonna turn it on. Now this is for if you want to dry something only. You don't want to go through and be doing a whole wash cycle and everything like that. You want to just dry something. Maybe you want to dry your towels after taking a shower, or you want to dry the towels that you used out at the pool, or maybe at the lake or something like that. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to rotate this dial to drain and spin. That's what we want, is a drain and spin. Okay, over here it shows it's going to spin. It shows it's on high. We want to bring it to over here to no spin. So we want to bring it down to a no spin. And then we hit our dry. When we hit dry, it's going to automatically bring this back up here to extra high. We want to bring that down to no spin. That's what we want. We're going to put this on damp. Again, anytime this comes back on, and you're going to have to move this, you need to put that on no spin. So we put it on no spin. We have our dry set to damp. That's the estimated time it's giving. It's gonna come down. Let's just watch. It's going to come down. So now we're gonna hit the start button. We're gonna turn the dome light back on, or drum light. So it's back on. It's flashing the spin. It's not going to spin, so this time's gonna come back down really quick. So let me back up just a little bit so you can kind of see what's going on and see the time. Right now it's going through. It's kind of weighing the towel to see how long it's going to possibly end up taking to dry it. It wants to see how heavy it is from it being wet or damp. So there we go. It's going to take 35 minutes to dry. So we're going to sit here and we're going to watch this. Now, another thing I want to talk about is I've seen some videos where people talk about the drying process. They talk about it after it's gone through a wash cycle. Any wash cycle, that they start talking about the drying and how the drain pump is always kicking on. The way this unit is set up, while it's drying inside of there, the moisture that gets created from it drying ends up going through some tubes inside and everything. It goes through a condenser and all that, and it comes back down into the bottom to the drain pump, and it sends that water out through the drain. So this unit is set up to where it has a condenser inside of it, and it takes the moisture, the steam or humidity that it's making in there while it's drying. It takes that and cycles it back through tubes and everything, to where it ends up basically that moisture becomes back into a liquid, and you can hear the pump. You can hear the pump kicking on up underneath. The pump sits right back behind this door. That's where the pump ends up sitting, is back behind this door, and behind the panel and everything. That's where it's at. But you can hear the pump kick on. and then it kicks back off. It kicks on and kicks off during drying process. If you can see that, there's some moisture already from it drying. A lot of that moisture ends up turning back into a liquid, back into water. And the drain pump, during the drying process, the drain pump will constantly kick on and kick off to get rid of that extra water that's building up inside of there. It sends it out through the drain and everything, and it ends up over there at the sink, draining out. Another thing that I did not mention on my video of how to hook up your washer in an apartment, that drain, if you look at it, it goes at an angle. And you look at part of it over here where it's up a little bit off of the backsplash of the counter. That's to give it the angle that it needs for the water as it's going into the PVC pipe over here. It gives it the angle it needs to send it running all the way to the sink. But as you see, there's the moisture and everything, and that's the drain pump kicking on and off. That's going to be normal. So that, because it wants to send as much of the water out as possible as it's drying the clothes. That's what makes this unit a ventless unit. That's why, with it being a washer dryer combo, there is washer dryer combos out there where you have to have a vent on it for the drying portion when it's drying. But with a condensing unit, with it being ventless and it having a condensing unit inside, it takes that warm air, it cycles it back through, however it ends up working. It cycles it back through, and that's how it ends up getting rid of a lot of that moisture and stuff. It sends it back through the tubes and all that, and as it cools down, it becomes liquid again, it becomes water again, and it sits down here by the pump or whatever, and the pump kicks on and keeps sending out the water and stuff. So that was another thing I had seen when I was looking about it. A lot of people putting their title or as drain pump won't shut off when drying. It's normal. Don't worry about it. It's normal. That pump is to get rid of the moisture, the water, as it's drying. But this is what it's going to do for 28 minutes. But I wanted to show you how, because this is a washer dryer combo. You can dry. You can do just drying if you want to. And this is how you do it. Again, you put the dial on drain and spin, and then when you hit this, when you hit the dry button, when you have it on drain and spin, it's gonna light up your spin speed. That's the only thing it's gonna light up. When you hit dry, it's always gonna automatically go to normal. And it's always gonna take this and put it up to extra high for your spin speed. But when you want to dry, when you want to just dry, you put it on that, you hit your dry, it's gonna light up on normal. You put it on whatever you want, whether you want it to stay on normal, more time, low temp, or damp. You put it on whatever you want. But when you turn this on, when you turn dry on, it's automatically going to come up here to extra high. You want to always put it on no spin. And that way it ends up just kind of tossing whatever you put in there. It tosses it around for just a little bit, and then it switches over to your dry right away. So that's how you set this up for doing a dry if you want to dry only. There was I could not find any video on how to set this up for drying. Everybody, the videos I would find, they were already, it was already in the drying process already, or they would just sit there and talk about that you can dry only, but they'd never show it. So with this video, I wanted to show that you can dry something only. If you want to just dry, you can dry. And that's how you do it. So it's real simple. If you have two of these washer dryer combos, you can wash in one and then use the second one, whether it be like by the side or if it's stacked up or whatever. You can use the second one as a dryer and sit there and dry the clothes and everything, and then you can do another load and set this one up to end up doing a wash and dry. And when it's washing and drying, if your other one ends up being done or whatever, you can take the clothes out of there and then start a wash and dry in it. There's a bunch of possibilities of how you could end up using two of these combination units. So we're just gonna sit here until it's completely finishes doing the drying, and that way you'll get to hear the sound it ends up making when it finishes and all of that. The one thing I forgot to turn on that I could have showed you with this was the fresh care, and it flashing the and for it to flash the little timer underneath the lock. I could have showed you that, but I forgot to turn it on, so I'll have to show you that another time. But we're just gonna sit here and watch it count down and finish doing its dry deal, its dry cycle. If you can see at the bottom of the screen, on the door there, you can see the moisture, and you can see it turning back into water beads. It will drain into the rubber seal right around the door, and that seal also connects to the drain pump underneath the unit. And you can, as you can see, the light keeps turning off. That's because the drum light, unless you are gonna sit there and watch it and everything, the drum light stays on for I think it was 4 to 5 minutes. It stays on when you turn it on. It'll stay on for about 4 to 5 minutes, and then it'll shut off. You just push that button right there, the one that says extra rinse. It's from the top, it's the third one down. If you're going from the bottom, then it's second one up. But you just push and hold that for 3 seconds, and it'll turn your drum light back on in there, and you can see what's going on in there. If you're like me and you want to sit there and watch what's going on and everything with your new toy, then that's